cars, whether they're moving or not, 10 times. I'm going to rewatch it anyway. I mean, this is the type of movie I could see probably 4 times in the next month.
And you see like where they're positioned and what he's dealing with, like how he's kind of predicting, like whether it's pre-firing or just making sure he has the right cover. No, yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, that's how great movies are done.
He made an excellent Kingpin in the scene where he's going through the house and he's lighting everybody up on fire. And they're just like exploding from the
That was my favorite scene.
And the whole time he's just like, yeah.
So there's like, you have to go to that church. It's a safe haven.
Yeah.
Can a civilian go into that church? Would the priest just pulls out a shotgun? That's... Hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
This is Andy, part of the movie crew.
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Justin.
And I am Jeremy. Nice to meet you guys. So today we just saw John Wick 4. This is the first movie club edition of reacting to what the heck we saw.
Yeah, first episode, so it's going to be our reaction to a movie we saw in theaters. The series might be us just watching old classics, or it could be going to movies. Mix of both, most likely, but we wanted to kick it off with a very popular film, John Wick, Chapter 4, debatably one of the best action series of all time.
It was probably the best movie of the franchise.
Really? Why do you think it was the best?
It had a plot that was a little bit better than my dog died, I'm gonna go avenge my dog.
They did kind of put that into it a little bit with
the call
Mr. Nobody, the callback, which
They
was
did.
nice.
There was a dog that almost died.
Yeah, and Keanu was like, I'm not letting that happen again. Best movie of the series, though.
I don't think it was the best. I think the first is the best because it really established this entire saga in a way that sets it up that it can be movie after movie with really good plot, sticking to the characters, sticking to good story. And it all starts from that first one. The dog dying needs to happen. So that's like a rule in screenwriting is don't kill the dog. That's one of them. And they killed the dog for like first 10 minutes or something.
They set it off.
They did harm animals in that first movie.
They broke a lot of barriers in film by doing what they did. But I mean, this one was incredible. So, I mean, you're there for 2 hours and 40 minutes or something like that, right?
It was the longest of the series. Oof. The longest of the series.
Yeah, and it kept going. I mean, it's scene after scene, action-packed pretty much the whole time. There's no moment that you can use the bathroom and not miss something, right?
That's true. No, yeah. I mean, the reason I think that these series are very well done is because even though they'll hit you with some exposition and give you some character development, a lot of it is still just nonstop action-packed. John Wick, he's a man on a mission, and if you're in his way, you're going down, more or less. Whatever he has at his disposal. It could be a pencil, nunchucks. If it's a gun, you're toast. Hand-to-hand combat, he's going to do his move where he flips you, shoots you in the head, and you're done for. If you want to say it's the best action series, I would be able to like co-sign that because every single one is really well done. You don't really need dialogue from the main character for it to be good, which I think is...
I think he said like 50 words in total.
I think you're right.
It was probably the same 5 words. I'm going to kill you. Something in Japanese.
Yeah, I think he might actually say more in foreign languages than in English.
And take me home.
Yeah, but that's all you need. I think that, like, with it, when it comes to action movies, less is more with dialogue. And if the plot is just a shoot 'em up or a beat 'em up movie and that going in, then that's what the viewer is going there for.
But I think it's new fighting sequences, ways to fight, artillery involved.
Or maybe they could have done it better here was the arrow scene, right? You didn't like that in the Japan hotel showdown.
The most unrealistic part of the whole movie is that bow and arrows were used in close quarters combat against automatic weapons. It's never gonna happen like that. And the people that died deserve to die for choosing bow and arrow in that scenario.
Maybe they weren't the traditional bow and arrow. I mean, they went through metal helmets or...
Yeah, they're going through metal helmets.
That's
the special bulletproof Kevlar vests and suits. The arrows were piercing those.
That the bullets couldn't. The arrows would them. And by the way, these are not compound bullets. These are just
We don't know.
regular.
That's an unanswerable question.
No, you could see the arrow.
But they don't tell you the secret technology.
Let's say these were the most powerful arrows in the world. When you have 100 guys with automatic weapons around you and you could only shoot manually one at a time, you're pretty much effed.
Well, that's what they had. They had like the people with the swords as the first wave and the people shooting the arrows behind them.
That's
okay,
true.
so the swords I was fine with. Like okay, I can see that happening.
They're basically like being traditionalists, right? Like that's their thing. That's what they
Consequences.
trained up. Consequences. Yeah, I mean,
that was the theme of the movie, right?
That's consequence. You want to go into a gunfight with a sword and a bow and arrow, you're probably gonna lose. But yeah, did you have any other plot hole or gripe or could have been better?
I think you had one, Andy. A plot hole that happened.
Just like, I mean, obviously it's a movie, so like wherever they go, wherever city, it's just, I'm there. I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta go to Berlin, I'm in Berlin.
We did say that was agreed upon, that we are all in favor of them not telling us how he's able to move from place to place so easily. Like,
And then Mr. Nobody. How is he this expert tracker that can track John Wick when nobody else can?
it's just
Right, and all he has is a notebook.
With
That's all he
solutions.
needs. That's all. He's just that guy.
He was there to help us. Like, all right, what does that symbol mean? It's like, oh, can't go in there.
Mr.
But
Exposition.
actually, at one point, he does say, well, how did you find me? And he lifts up, like, his cell phone. He's like, oh, like, he completely understands the technology he's
But no
using
one
there.
in the audience knew that.
What? Those
Even
are the
the
subtleties.
marquee didn't know how he found him.
Because if you have to do a deep dive to explain things like that, we're just gonna end up watching a 4-hour movie where like those are things that, yes, they're gripes, right? Like mine was probably when he's speaking to Winston at the outdoor cemetery and they're not wearing jackets, but there's snow all over the place. It's clearly freezing.
Jackets.
They were just wearing regular suits, not even a hat or a scarf or nothing.
Was this after a lot of running? Because,
I mean, John is always sweaty. Let's be real.
he was in the desert with that suit.
Yeah.
He was in the cold
That
with that suit.
is dirty and probably weighed down by some sweat for sure. But
The thing I didn't get was like the opening. Why is he chasing them on horseback, shooting at them? Where he already knows the location of the elder.
he's chasing. Well, actually, he semi-knew because in the past movie he had to pass out. So
Right.
he's kind of he was
But
kind
he's
of
chasing
following
You
them.
have to go until you
Where are
can't
they
go
going?
anymore,
Yeah.
and then go further.
They weren't even shooting back.
I don't even think they had guns. I think they were just like hightailing it back to the highland, hoping they were able to evade him. And he was
I
like,
would have just dispersed. I was like, all right, you go that way, you go that way, you go straight. So you're like, who you following?
And I guess it wasn't that big of a mistake because that guy was never brought up again. This like high table guy. I mean, it did spin out and a lot of things happened, but John was in just as much trouble
yeah.
since before he killed that guy. Like that guy dying wasn't necessarily like
It wasn't
a pivotal moment.
He even said he was insignificant. He was like, well, if you kill me, they're just going to replace me.
Right.
So I'm like, what's your job? You're
Right.
supposed to be above the table, but the table picks you.
Right.
I think that was to just kind of give background. It's like John claims he's going to kill everybody, but he goes to the top of the food chain hoping that's going to stop it. And the guy's like, that's not going to stop it. They're just going to replace me. And
And
then
then in the last movie,
John
he goes to the elder thinking the elder could help him. And he's like, you got to cut off your finger and I'll help you. So can he help him? Or can he help him?
it's kind of just like,
He can't help
That's a
himself.
problem.
And why does this guy only have like 3 guys running away on horses? Like he seems really understaffed for a guy that's like in his position when everybody else who's like a minimal guy has like 400 guys ready to attack, like fully paid, fully insured.
well, he's using the
Henchmen.
environment as his henchman. No one's supposed to go find him in the desert. Like that's supposed to be
These are full-time guys, like really putting their life out to get killed by John Wick. I mean, I could understand when there's like the bounty on his head and like whoever kills him gets 40 million. Okay, everybody's in it.
Yeah.
But when he's going up into a place and like shooting all these different guys, it's like That guy paid like what, $30K a year? Like it's gotta like how significant is it? How much
I had a family.
Yeah, I don't know.
Consider that guy a family.
They all do, right? Like I was trying to think of that too. Like how much money do you think the people that are just answering the phones at HQ are making there?
It's gotta be 100.
No, that's also probably the bottom of the food chain. They're just taking calls and writing up chalk on the board for the next payment of the number one target. 60K?
Then why do they throw it on the chalkboard? Nobody sees that chalkboard.
It might just be tradition. Like,
Yeah.
Some cultures have like you make a sale, you ring a bell, right? Like that's who's that for? But little plot holes here and there.
This is one of the biggest ones in the entire movie. No police. No police anywhere. Do whatever you want. They're in Paris. They go from like the 8th arrondissement to the 6th and the 3rd. And I mean, they're like spread out all across Paris. There's not one cop. There's a scene where they're driving in a roundabout and just like dozens of cars just being slaughtered, like gunshots, people dying everywhere. Not one cop showed up.
That's fair. And we were congratulating John for no casualties in the film. If there was police there, it would have been a problem. So that was
well, clarify
definitely
what you mean by no casualties, because a lot of people were dying.
no civilian casualties.
No civilian casualties.
Sorry, no one innocent was getting injured, right? They didn't show a single civilian catch a stray.
No.
All the car accidents.
All the car accidents were like crumple zones of the car where like the driver wasn't there, right? He's getting slammed into the back of a van. He's getting slammed into the side of a car.
Yeah.
If he gets from the front of the car, it was a bad guy's car, so it doesn't matter, right?
I think I saw a Ford Focus there just stop, like just right timing, like close but no cigar.
Yeah.
Like really.
The civilians were like doing their best to evade them, right? It was
Yeah.
the bad guys that were crashing. So
And I mean, if you're stuck in traffic, you're trying to get home, and then you see people getting like massacred all in front of you, like,
you're just
are
hoping
you gonna drive through?
You're hoping to make it.
You just get home, right?
I mean, you can't turn that
And also,
roundabout. You can't turn
what
around.
about the safe havens? There's like, you have to go with that church. It's a safe haven.
Yeah.
Can a civilian go into that church? Would the priest just pulls out a shotgun?
That's an unanswerable question.
And also, no civilians at these landmarks. I mean, when it's just like them, like doing showdowns and
Or
stuff.
these hotels.
Or these hotels.
Get out the Continental.
I was thinking,
Right, I didn't see anyone outside.
It's like, you're like, why?
if you got word about this hotel, it's like security is just top notch. Like I feel like a regular rich person would want to stay there all the time.
in the middle of a big city like Osaka, New York.
Yeah, like
Really not
nice
going to the
hotels.
door either. No, like, hey guys, keep it down. Nothing.
Right. Like, I think it's just one of those unspoken. The table has so much money, we have to assume they can pay off all of the police, and that's why no one was around.
And all the police, not only
Everywhere.
abroad but here.
Everywhere.
Yeah, try that in New York City.
They're international.
10 and $40 million, something like that, right?
Yeah.
That's not that much money. When you talk about paying off the entire city of cops to keep quiet and act like nothing's happening, this is very expensive.
It's whoever's on duty, though, right? Like, it's not paying off the entire staff. If it's like me and Andy on, and they're like, "Here's $1 million each, go
It's
home."
unavoidable. And then what about the news stations? They're not playing any of this.
The news stations are showing up late. That scene had to be between 3 and 6
Fine. News stations show up late. Individuals posting on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and TikTok. No videos. There was no integration of modern society into the script, which I kind of liked. I'm not fighting against it. I think it was a good thing. Because I think there's a little too much of that these days.
I don't think anyone pulled out a cell phone up to date.
You had the
Not enough today. I think the
flip phones.
Mr.
Yeah.
Nobody had a flip phone, right?
That's
Usually
enough.
Nokia.
I think
Might
he was
be on purpose.
Yeah.
I think he's the one that showed a phone.
Yeah.
Besides the rich guy with like his old school phone at the end.
He doesn't have a phone even. I didn't see him answer a phone once.
Never had his phone. Why would he have a phone?
Right. He doesn't want to be tracked.
Yeah.
He has no
Right.
friends, so just never
Yeah.
call him.
He sees
Right.
his friends in person. He's a very intimate kind of guy.
Yeah.
He's coming over.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. All right. So no police. Dance club is a big one. I noticed that.
German dance club. They're all dancing. Maybe it's just people that are in Germany. They're just dancing. But there's people fighting, and they're like, "Oh,
Not just fighting, because it's one thing to dance around a fight.
with
People
axes."
dying,
Yeah.
getting mauled by axes, gunshots.
And all they're doing, they're like, "Oh God, get away!"
Yeah.
They're like, "All right, back to dancing." Like it was normal.
They were dancing while it was happening. Basically,
Yeah.
like, this happens every day, just
Yeah,
ignore it.
like when it got close to the people, they're like, "Oh, they would like disperse.
Yeah.
Like, all right, make a crit. Like,
And it wasn't just like a little scuffle. I mean, they were like slamming each other to the ground.
He falls over a 3-story level. It was like 3 levels.
3-story
He
level.
falls over 3 stories, splats down, and everyone's just carries on partying.
it was like an underground dance club. It's like the top of the building looked like this like old school European opera house.
Yeah.
But the downstairs one was like this like there's like 8 waterfalls, and I looked like I was in a warehouse.
Yeah.
I mean, that club looks so sick. Did you notice how when you went through the doorway, the waterfall would open for you and then come back? It just was like a sliding door almost. That was like when the dog pulled up, the water opened, dog rolls through, closed right behind the dog. It was like, these clubs don't exist, but if they did, they'd be freaking sick.
Yeah, that would be pretty good. I mean, all these places, it's like the total 5-star experience where these people, maybe that's why they kept dancing. They paid too much money to be there that night.
So yeah, the cover to the place has to be like, what, $10,000?
Could have been a top DJ. I was like, this is every Saturday night.
Right.
But yeah, I think like any action movie, you're gonna have many gripes because of things that are not realistic, but some of the surrealism is what adds to the allure, right? Like John Wick is able to get away with all this because the cops are just not on duty when he's in town. Right?
Just happens to
You
be.
can fall 3 stories and just walk.
Yeah.
Walk.
That's a tough tackle for him, right? He just lands 3 stories down.
Fall down 200 flights of stairs and just get up and do it again.
That's actually one of my favorite things about John Wick. I'm glad that you mentioned that part of the movie. He never complains.
He's too humble.
He can have a knife and someone can have a gun. He's not going to complain.
Yeah.
He can go up 200 stairs and get pushed down and have to start all over. He's not going to complain. He can get cheated in a game of cards. He's not going to complain. He never complains ever. He just accepts whatever happened. He's like, all right, I have to figure it out anyway. And keeps it moving. Like that. There's a lot of reasons to like John Wick. That is one of my favorite reasons. No matter what happens, he does not complain.
Yeah, and he's still human, right? He's got no superpower. There's nothing Marvel about him. He's just a regular guy that has a lot of experience killing people. I would have trouble getting up those stairs in 2 minutes without anybody in my way.
Yeah.
You know, I'd be like, oh man, 2 minutes.
No, yeah. Like his cardio is insane. That fight scene in the Japanese hotel, they're fighting for an extremely long time, and actually liked that in the final scene with him and the blind guy, he's like kind of trying to sneak in breaks here and there because he's so winded. He's just like talking to him, like reloading, like taking a pause. He just falls.
And he notices like his gun's empty. I can't move because they'll hear me.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna like
Let me chill
for a moment.
Enjoy that downtime. No, yeah, I like that too. And in a movie full of surrealism, when they were fighting, they would show him huffing and puffing at the end. Like those fights where he was gassed after every single one.
If anyone can do it, it's gotta be Keanu Reeves. I can't see anyone else in the role either. I mean, it's gotta be him. He's such a great guy. He's so humble in real life. He's just like, he's a really nice guy, but he's all business when it comes to fighting.
Oh, yeah.
And his training is real, his experience. He just fits it so well. I don't see anyone taking over his spot.
What was your oh shit moment as you were watching the movie like this? That one scene or moment where you're like, oh shit. For me, it was like when Mr. Nobody got his hand stabbed.
I was gonna say,
And he decided to like not pick up the knife. I'm gonna slide my hand.
the guy gave him 2 choices, and he was like, choose wisely.
I thought it was pretty bad.
That was my most memorable scene, I think. Not my favorite scene, but definitely most memorable because of the fact that like all audience members were like gasping and like holding their breath.
It hurts my hand to watch that.
Like it reminded me watching Saw.
Right.
There's scenes in Saw where you're just like, oh my god, like that.
He was totally fine.
He cut him in the middle of his hand and he pulled it all
He had
the
to
way.
angle it through, otherwise it was gonna hit bone on his finger.
I mean, it already is over here. I mean, he's cutting a lot of stuff. I mean, he's basically got like a split hand when he's done with it. How is it not just like wobbling there, like useless?
No, yeah, that was.
And he goes on through the rest of the film. Okay, now I proved myself, and it's gonna be a lobster.
I think mine, just because I got a reaction out of me, was when Keanu finally beat the Kingpin in the club and he knocked him over a flight and just smacks down on the bottom of his on his neck. And it's like a man of that weight, right? That guy has to be 400 or 500 pounds at least.
Yeah.
Like when that happened, I was like, that was brutal.
Dude was very nimble though.
He made it.
kicks.
He made an excellent Kingpin in the scene where he's going through the house and he's lighting everybody up on fire, and they're just like exploding from the
That was my
inside.
favorite scene.
And the whole time he's just like, yeah,
Like
you know.
you knew that was going to be a factor when a few scenes prior you have a bad
Right, they set it up.
testing the gun and
Right.
you see you're like, all right, John Wick's going to use that.
Right.
And then
He's
he takes it
gonna-
from him, and he's
I like how they shot it like overhead,
That was why.
just
Oh, yeah.
like room to room to room.
Obviously, you're watching a movie, but it kind of felt like you're watching a video game almost, where it's just like this character is going off in like Rainbow Six-esque style, where you
Right.
have overhead
First-person
camera
shooter.
view. And
It's like an aerial, got like a nice.
and it was like he unlocked this like special weapon that he's just lighting these dudes on fire when he shoots them. I thought that was
And not only that, but from a technical standpoint, I got so much respect for the whole crew, because this is a continuous sequence that they're filming
Yeah.
through every room. And to do that with that much action happening, people literally being lit on fire and running around, and man, there's so much going on there. I can't wait till they release like the how they did it video. They do
I
like
think
that.
it gave it more of a dramatic effect, because if it was like first person, it was just like boom, like you
Right.
just see it and you're like,
Right.
all right. But like this way, it's like you kind of get like a little technical with it, where it's less like in person, and you can just like imagine it being like he's actually shooting.
You see guys coming, you see like where they're positioned and what he's dealing with, like how he's kind of predicting, like
Uh-huh.
whether it's pre-firing or just making sure he has the right cover. No, yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, that's how great movies are done.
It's always like they have unlimited bullets.
They do. Yeah.
Like,
I
I
mean,
liked how it's like every moment, like you can see him like picking up the next gun, picking
Yes.
up the next gun,
That's-
checking. It's like, let me get more bullets.
In a surreal world, he always needs more ammo. He never has infinite ammo. That's probably the most realistic thing they have in the movie.
but he does have a little more than he should. Yeah, I mean, he's running around with a 9mm pistol and he's shooting like 40 guys.
Well, in the opening scene, he has an extended mag, but I think they factor that in, right? Like in a movie that has him picking up weapons, I feel like if you went back and did like bullet counts, it would probably be either spot on or relatively close,
yeah.
because they don't want you to be like, oh, he's just another action movie where he never runs out of bullets and he's got one extra mag in his pocket and it lasts him for 100 guys, right? Those
And it's,
movies.
and it's the same guy. Like he used different weapons.
Yeah, like he's picking up new weapons on the fly. I'm showing you all of his skills, whether it's a shotgun, machine gun, pistol, car, motorcycle. Like he's able to drive and shoot them all.
He gets hurt way too much to be able to walk. And I mean, you see in the movie, like he'll have a limp sometime, but like he fell out of a window, smashed into the car, like almost obliterated the car that he smashed into from falling out of the window, like flipped over into the street, and he gets up from that. Then he's being hit by cars. How many cars did he get hit by? Probably like at least 3 at minimum.
Yeah, probably 3 is a good number for an over-under, I'd say.
Let's do an over-under, and then I guess we're gonna have to revisit it.
Yeah, we can-
I'm gonna call it 6.
Or if there are people viewing this, put it in the comments how many times you get
Over under. Let's vote on it.
Over under 5. Over under 5.
Oh,
Yeah.
5. The falling isn't him getting hit by a car. Him getting hit by a car is him getting vehicle.
What's the
Gotta be a moving vehicle, right? If we're talking about
if we're
how many times he smashes into a car, that's different, because that could be the vehicle's moving or he's jumping into one.
Yeah,
And that number is gonna be a little higher.
before he gets into the car, he gets hit.
But in that roundabout scene alone, there should be at least 5.
Yeah, I think if the over-under is 5, I'd probably take the over. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Take you over.
Okay, so there's no disagreement there. We should make the over-under higher. I think he had at least 10 times he's smashed into cars, whether they're moving or not, 10 times. I'm going to rewatch it anyway. I mean, this is the type of movie I could see probably 4 times in the next month and not get sick of it.
That's a good movie.
Yeah.
If you can rewatch it that many times.
Well, let me give it a little more time. I can watch it
If you have 2 hours and 40 minutes.
4 times in like 2 months.
Yeah.
2 months. Right, exactly. That's also the length of time for the
It's just a
movie.
long movie.
While also watching another movie for next week's episode as well.
Yeah.
You gotta factor that.
That can't be an excuse either. Like, hey, sorry guys, I just got stuck on John Wick again. Can we talk about that? I got some more to say. I found some new bits.
Every episode. So you guys like the ending? R.I.P. to John Wick.
Beloved husband.
Yes, beloved husband, the best killer to ever do it.
But did he really? Do we really know? I don't know. I think he could have lived. I mean, they do a lot of fake dying in this movie.
I think he really died because the table gave him what he wanted. It's like, right, you're done, you're free to go.
Right, so he has something to live for now.
Not really.
So then why have the death scene then? If he's already winning, he already won, he already beat them.
And earlier in the movie, the main villain goes to him and says, like, a man with no purpose has nothing to live for. His purpose was to finally get out from underneath the table. He does that and he's like, all right, now I can die in peace, right? So
fine.
It's kind of like a poetic ending.
And then they show his wife, like a random flashback.
Right, random flashback to Bridget Monahan making out with him really quick.
And he's like, and then he either says,
that's who it was?
Yeah.
He either says her name or he says heaven. I couldn't get that.
Her name's Helen. I think he said
Yeah. So Helen?
Now here's the thing. Okay, put your morals aside. This movie is a hit. It's making so much money. This is the fourth one. And Keanu Reeves, I've seen him in interviews. I think he said something along the lines of he's willing to do more.
He said he would go until the fans don't want it anymore.
Right, and we want it.
So I think
the answer is
They're gonna
prequels.
go back in time.
Yeah, I think prequels.
Oh, that would be cool.
Because like
Prequels
what
is the
happened?
only answer.
What
Oh,
would
maybe a
follow
little House of Dragons thing.
Because if they
Yeah.
follow the timeline,
200 years before?
Oh, actually, yeah.
That would be
when
good.
he's like a younger man.
Yeah, it would be
Oh, right.
young
When-
John.
How did he become
The making of John.
the boogeyman?
Yes, the rise of John Wick. Before he was Baba Yaga.
Baba Yaga. Right, that's how you say it. I was trying to think of it.
The Slavic boogeyman.
Yeah.
He technically beat the table. I mean,
Yeah.
the table still exists, but it's like
He never
unless the
destroyed the
fifth
table.
movie would be the head of the table getting vengeance on John Wick for beating them.
But he was
He's
like,
dead.
not even mad about it though. The guy,
He wasn't.
The guy that
The
conducted the
The
finals.
Harbinger,
Yeah.
or whatever the guy was, he was like, all right, that was the
All right,
business.
cool.
Those
Yes.
are the old ways. Job's done.
Right, like
We're moving on.
we've settled this. Everyone go home. Like basically, we're done here, right? So yeah, I think that's it. Like I know that movies do that sometimes, where they bring people back from the dead. Classic Fast and Furious.
We don't know for sure if he
in the
died.
two movies.
We didn't
So let's ask the viewers, what do you think?
Yeah.
If they had to make a John Wick 5, would it go prequel, sequel, or spin-off?
God, I hope not spin-off. Give me a prequel or a sequel.
Well, I'll tell you one
I
thing.
think it might-
Usually, like a very traditional technical film scene that they usually do when there's someone that died and they didn't really die, it like ends with showing them watching from it, right? Like you see like over the shoulder from the woods, like looking at these people at their funeral. Like something like that. They left it open to be like, he could be dead. He wouldn't
He's
go
a
down
mortal
with 3 shots though. I mean, after everything.
3 well-placed shots with
Right.
bulletproof.
They weren't well played. They literally missed on purpose.
No,
guy-
the final shot was literally
Armored in
10
the stomach.
feet away.
Yeah, and they didn't shoot him in the face.
He shot him in the
I
stomach.
think he's really dead because like looking back, they was like, what would you say on your tombstone? It was like, beloved husband. I was like, well, why bring that up
Yeah.
if you're not going to die?
Heavy foreshadowing.
And then
Heavy.
tombstone or gravesite were like Winston and the Bowery King, who would kind of know if he was still alive.
Yeah, like it's not like he's tricking anyone
They
at the
didn't-
funeral. They're the ones
Yeah.
that buried him.
Yeah, but it looks like they were like just admiring the grave. They weren't really like mourning him. They weren't really like, and there was no conversation about it between them either. Like I can't
Well,
believe.
it's not like he said, "Where do you think he is?" Period. Like in the world, it's like.
Well, that was the thing.
No.
That was the thing that actually got me. Where do you think he is? Because that meant to me,
He says
he's not
heaven or
here.
hell specifically. He's not on this realm. He's not on Earth.
But
Like,
then why kill him off? Like, why have that?
Where do you
ending
think he
if
is?
he's
How's
just
it
going to
gonna
come back?
right. Like I think he said, there's no
one coming after him.
There's no one coming after him. There's no reason for him to fake his death.
So you think that the sequels will have to be prequels?
Yes.
If they do a normal John Wick, it would have to be a prequel. But if I feel like they're going with spin-offs.
Yeah, I think if they did John Wick 5, it would be John Wick Chapter 5, the rise of John Wick. And it would
But
just
how are they gonna like Benjamin Button him? Because Keanu Reeves is a little over the line of making it look like he's like
Just shave it
15. Are they gonna get someone that looks like him? It's not
Give him a haircut, shave his beard, do some CGI. They do that stuff all
Yeah, a
the
little
time.
CGI, a little Benjamin Button kind of
Like, they do that all the time. They'll have a character who's supposed to be in his 30s, and then to make him a freshman in college, they just tell him to shave his beard for the scene. And
Yeah,
he's-
but I think they got away with that sort of thing a lot more years ago. Now it's like we're a little more acute to. He's got to look it. He's got to really look it.
But as a
if you're
fan,
gonna tell me
you're gonna force yourself to believe.
I don't think we've ever seen Keanu Reeves clean shaven. That could be.
Yeah.
But we have seen him in Bill and Ted's Adventure.
In Matrix.
The original Matrix.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, the original. If he comes looking like that, I'd be like, whoa, yeah.
Yeah, that's young. We'd be like, that's young Keanu. He's got
Hardball.
Yeah, the
Okay.
Neo haircut. Oh yeah, I mean that might be one for another one. And we could probably go down just a slew of Keanu movies. Hardball's a classic.
But what are they going to show? Are they going to show his wife dying too? How?
No, I don't even think Bridget Monahan is in it. I bet you it's him, like as an orphan, getting raised by the Russian mob or whichever mob was like took him in, right? And then just shows how rough his life was and the making of the best killer ever. Then the next one would be his mission to get out, quote unquote, before he meets Bridget Monahan and wants to live that life, right? Like they said, and they allude to it in all the movies. Yeah, like they even did it again in this movie. They were like, when you got out before, how many people did you kill? He goes, a lot. He doesn't even give you a number. He just says a lot.
It could be like the marker, like his first marker.
Right. Like he attains 2 markers, I think, in his lifetime, right? He gave one to Halle Berry's character.
Oh, right.
He
Yeah.
gave one to, I think, another character as well.
I think it's the
misremembering.
owner of the hotel.
1,000 apologies.
What's
Yeah.
his name? The owner of the hotel. I think that's
Winston.
right?
Yeah, I thought so.
Isn't it? It's
Could be misremembering, but he had at least one.
yeah.
And clearly he had such a great relationship with the manager of the Japanese hotel that like he owed him a debt without even a marker.
Might be a spin.
This is a movie that has good story where you actually care about the characters, you care about the plot, you love the action, and it's just like you can never get enough of
Like
it.
it could be like he does a mission that somehow saves that guy's daughter and he's like, I'm forever indebted.
Do they have a video game out yet for
No.
John Wick?
If they do, hopefully it's like an arcade, like Time Crisis type shit.
Be good.
That would be cool.
That would actually be
It's
great.
going to be a spinoff. I feel like it's going to be
A metaverse
the daughter who like ended up on the same path train as
The
John
London
Wick.
Pack.
The Osaka path train,
Yeah.
which was very similar to the Jersey City path or Hoboken path.
Yeah.
But
Japanese path, sorry.
they ended up on the same train at the same time, but he was killing way more people. And I think she might be a spinoff where she goes after the man responsible for killing her father, like the friend.
Ooh. But would they make a full movie out of it?
Keanu's not going to
Maybe
be
a B plot, because he did say, I'll be waiting for you. Like he was like, I know you're going to come for me eventually.
I mean, obviously they're going to try to do a spinoff at some point whenever Keanu Reeves gets sick of it, but I wouldn't like it as much. I mean, he really makes the whole story.
Yeah.
You really care about him. Like,
Basically.
if she died right there on those steps, I wouldn't really care. It's like,
Yeah, I mean,
it wouldn't really affect me.
She doesn't
after
come
the
back.
fact.
But I think she will because they set up so much time.
They
with
did
her.
set up a lot of time with her.
And like
Yeah.
if she was just gonna be a nobody, like you didn't have to mention that this is her daughter.
Right.
You could have just been like,
Just been like she's a concierge that like is a close friend.
yeah.
Mm.
Then she'd have like this amazing fighter with the other concierge. Did
Now,
not.
that's the only spinoff I would see is the concierge from the New York Continental. Like that guy.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
He passed away.
No, but I'm saying his prequel. What?
He died very recently, so R.I.P.
Yeah,
Oh,
R.I.P.
I'm sorry. I did not know.
Lance Riddick, right? Lance
Yeah.
Riddick.
Oh, he was so good.
It was like actually.
That's so sad because he was so talented
Yeah.
and he was so serious. Like,
I don't know. He passed away probably too recent for them to reshoot it, so I think they just got lucky.
Passed away I think this past.
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I think it just happened that they
Why don't I know
just
this
kept doing
news? I'm really off. Oh man. Yo, I really loved his character, obviously.
His last word.
I think I would have been too sad if I knew this news and then saw the movie and these scenes. I think that would have affected me worse.
But yeah, a part of me thought of that. Like, did they reshoot this? I was like, no, they couldn't have. Like, way too soon.
And it was like probably
They were doing like
it was probably like 2 days before.
yeah, like they were doing pre-releases and
Yeah.
stuff. There's no way that they did
No,
reshoots
it's
for that. Just it worked out that way. And
Yeah.
he had a pretty killer last words for a character and in the movie and in real life.
He did a great job. He was a great actor. Really excellent. Really impressive stuff. Only person I'd want to see a spin-off with.
How would you rate the movie?
Ooh, that's true. IMDb rates them all like 7.4 basically across the board. So maybe I give it an 8, but I still like John Wick 1 the best, me personally.
Oh, well, yeah, so do I. But
So yeah, so if I'm giving John Wick 1 like a 9, then I gotta give John Wick 4 an 8.
you're really reserving that 10. And by the way, that's a rookie score. You don't even give a point. Think I'm overshooting it? I'm going to give it a 9.5, straight up.
Oh, wow.
9.5?
So strong.
So
one of the
A 10 has to win like an Academy Award.
all
You've
time.
ever seen?
No, what I'm going to take the score down.
Yeah, so like I think that's way too high.
I'm gonna give it a very strong 8.9.
Yeah.
8.9.
That's pretty strong. If I had to go back now, I think I would lower my score. What did I say? 8?
8.
I
You
think,
said 8 and then 9.
well, I said 9 for 1.
Because now you're putting me in pressure to think about all movies of all time.
Well, that's
I would-
where it goes.
I would give this movie
And then we're taking into classics and stuff.
7.8 out of 10.
Yeah, that's
It
probably the
was
best one.
a little too long. I can understand the whole mythology.
I think for
with like
okay,
the dueling, all that.
well, let's put it in perspective.
Find a
Let's-
way to put a bow on it.
But the action scenes,
Yeah.
I love the music.
Yeah.
Even when they're in Paris, they tied in like the French artists. Like they're gonna paint it black. But I was like expecting like the Rolling Stones to come on.
No,
but
that was pretty
like
cool, yeah.
French music.
I did like that.
I think so. I like that.
Speaking of that, did you guys ever watch the movie The Warriors? This is
Yeah.
Yeah.
just because of the fact that they have the radio host like pointing out where John's whereabouts are.
Interesting.
And she's
Okay.
calling them boppers, like just like the radio host in the Warriors. Like
Wow,
so
that's a connection I didn't make watching it, but
it's a
you're right.
nice throwback for any Warriors fans out there.
Thank you for watching.
Put it in the
Smash.
chat your favorite movies and maybe future episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll
give us some
review
recs.
those movies.
Smash the like button, smash the subscribe button if you really like it, you want to see more of this kind of stuff. And we're just looking to have fun and let you guys give some feedback as well. So see you next time.